Hey, y'all. So I was just sitting here and I was talking to one of my young people at work, and I was actually, trying to mentor them and get them focused and, let them know it's the beginning of the school year and they have things to do and things of that nature, right? So during that time, I started reflecting on my own time in school, right? When I was in high school. And that journey was not successful for me. So I started to share with the young person, some of the things that made it unsuccessful for me. And it just got me thinking about what happened with me in high school. And I just want to ask in this video, and y'all let me know if I could still call ACS on my mother. Like, can she get arrested now? Should Miss P be arrested for what she did? All right, so let me tell you guys what happened, right? I was in an honors program. I was in an honors program for elementary and middle school. I was in the honors program. I was in what we call the top class. We used to call ourselves the elite students, things of that nature. Because again, academically, I'm really, 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 really advanced. When it comes to like learning, it's not hard for me, right? So in school, my parents, they trusted me. Like, I never got suspended. I never got in trouble in school. I was always in the honors program. So my mother and my father felt like they didn't have nothing really to worry about because they could trust me with school, right? I didn't get problems in school. So when I got to high school, I chose a high school that was really far from where I lived because I felt like my parents always had like a hold on me. And I was like, I want to get away from them. And one of the ways that I can start getting away from them is going to school further away, because in my junior high, my elementary, everybody knew my family. It was close to my house, yada, 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 right? So I picked a high school that was far from where I live. I'm not going to say the high school because they probably could get in trouble as well for what happened. Anywho, as soon as I got in that school, I met 3 friends. Long story short story shorter, school safety started saying things like they was going to get paid whether we walked out the door at any time of the day or not. So for me, that meant ding, 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 I was free. It also meant I was free because it was far away from my parents, so nobody would know what I was doing, right? So I started cutting school. First, I would just cut a couple of hours out the day. Then I just started cutting all together, right? Okay, cool, no problem. Well, it is a problem, but you know what I mean. So now I'm cutting school, and I realized that we're going to get report cards. So I started finding out ways to doctor up my report card, because my mom and them wasn't going to think anything different from what was going on, because I had always done very well in school. So if I'm getting a report card with all of these good grades, then that doesn't shock them, right? So I started learning how to do that. I won't get into that because that could get some other folks in trouble as well, right? So now that I learned how to do that and I'm cutting school, finally, because I had so many days absent, they wanted to kick me out of school. And at one point, we didn't have a house phone, so they were sending letters in the mail, and I was intercepting the mail. So what did I end up doing was, when they wanted to kick me out, I hired a person from my neighborhood to go up to the school and act like they were a relative of mine and sign me out, right? So now I'm not in school. So I'm able to have my whole day. I'm leaving out every morning, doing what I want to do, going where I want to go, and acting like I'm going to school. And my parents are none the wiser, right? So now fast forward, we get to junior year. And my mom was like, oh, we need to start thinking about senior events and senior course and things of that nature. So I need to go up to the school and see what's going on. So I was like, me? Me? You don't need to do that. She like, yes, I do. And plus, I haven't been checking in. I know you're doing well, but I still need to check in, blah, 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 right? So now I'm nervous. I'm like, oh, God. So anyway, we get up and we go to the school together, right? So when we get to the school, we get to the door, school safety is looking at me like, who are you? And my mom was like, oh, my daughter's a student here. Her name is blah, blah, blah. I need to see somebody in charge of blah, 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 right? So school safety calls the dean. So the dean comes out, and they come and get us from the front desk, and then we go back in here. And the dean is now asking me, like, what's your name again? And I'm giving him my name. And he like, okay, let me look around. So I guess when he couldn't find any documentation with me on it, he went and got the assistant principal. So the assistant principal comes out, and they like, what's your name again? So I give my name, and now my mother's getting a little flustered because she like, listen, what's the hold up here? So the assistant principal was like, give me a minute. So they went out, they went in the office, and then they came back. And they took me and my mom in the office. And long story shorter, they proceeded to tell my mom that I was signed out of the program for X amount of time and yada, yada, yada. When I tell y'all, I never in my life, I'm 40 years old, that is the only time in my life that I've seen my mom really disappointed in me. Disappointed in me. Like, she wasn't even yelling and screaming. She just was crying when we was going to the train station because she was saying, you know, how deceitful could I be to be leaving out the house every day acting like I'm going to school, blah, 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 right? Long story short, short story shorter. She said, okay, you don't want to go to school, Khadijah? Not a problem. You won't have to. Just do not ask me for nothing. If you're not going to school, don't ask me for nothing, right? So I think this kind of came to in like spring. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not paying that no mind. So now I'm living my best life. I'm home all day if I need to be, you know, doing what I want to do because I don't have to go to school anymore, right? So now fast forward to now it gets winter. It gets fall. I don't care about that. I don't have to go to school. I don't have to get ready for school. I don't care about it being fall, right? Okay. Long story short, short story shorter, now fast forward is getting to the winter months. And usually, you know, every couple of years you get you a new coat, right? So it was my turn this year to get me a new coat. My parents were responsible for buying me a new coat. So I'm like, okay, well, it's my turn. You know, it's getting cold. The days is getting colder. I need a coat. So I went to my mother and I'm like, Ma, you know, are we going to start getting ready for us to go coat shopping, yada, yada, yada. My mother looked at me and was like, what you need a coat for? You don't have anywhere you need to be, so what do you need a coat for? So I'm thinking to myself, what I need a coat for is winter. But her point was, if you can't go to school, then I don't need to buy you no coat. That's the only place you have to be. So I'm like, whatever, girl, not paying no mind. So I see she trying to be stubborn. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be stubborn with you. Now, I don't have no coat. I'm trying to be stubborn. I got sick. I got really, really sick, like bad sick, like bad sick, right? So I'm coughing, I got a fever, all this stuff, right? So my dad and my mom, they would play good cop, bad cop, and they would take turns on which role which cop played. None of them ever played the same role consistently. And I could see in this situation, my mom was trying to play the bad cop, my dad playing the good cop. So I went to him, because I know I could tug at his heartstrings. I'm sick as a dog. I don't feel good. He took me to the doctor. When he took me to the doctor, they said that I had touch of pneumonia. Like, I was really, really sick, right? So when we came back, my father's getting nervous because he like, this girl chest is all tight. She having a fever. Like, she's really messed up. So he was like, you know, we got to get her back well, but we got to also get her a coat. I never forget. My mother was in the kitchen cooking because she know we didn't went to the hospital. She know I wasn't feeling good. She wasn't paying me no mind. My mother in the kitchen cooking. My father went there. He like, you know, Penny man, come here. I got to talk to you, Penny man. Come on, I got to talk to something serious. So my mother like, okay, what's the matter? What's going on? So he went through all of the stuff that doctor said and showed him all the medicines the doctor gave me, all this stuff, right? And he was like, the bottom line, Penny, is, you know, we really got to get this girl a coat. So my mother was like, you said to me that Khadijah's sick, right? So my father was like, yeah, real sick. She got touched on one, but he was like, my mother was like, is she dead? My father was like, Penny, man, you won't wait for the girl to die? My mother said, I asked again. You told me Khadijah was sick. Is she dead? My father was like, Penny. My mother looked at my father and said, so then get the fuck out of my face. I was like, and believe it or not, my mother did not contribute 1 penny to the coat. She ain't take me nowhere to get no coat. She ain't show them where they needed to go. My godmother, God bless her soul, Lisa Brown, and my father put some money together and got me a coat. Miss P, I thought you loved me. But the bottom line is, the question I'm asking is, should Miss P ass be arrested? They should have called ACS on her. Come on, this girl need a coat. But you know what? The moral of the story is, that's these kids' problem today. You know, I felt entitled. I felt like I didn't have to do shit, but I still deserve stuff. And my mother felt like you don't deserve nothing if you can't do what you're supposed to do. And as an adult, I don't have that sense of entitlement anymore. Now, I do what I'm supposed to do to receive what I'm supposed to receive. I learned the lesson. And Miss P, your ass need to be in jail. Hello.